Alright guys, so we're going to get finished on this wrecker, but they're calling for rain the rest of the week. And the rain last week kept me from posting a whole bunch on this thing. It kept me really from working on this thing. And so it's calling for rain this afternoon and like I said, the rest of the week. And so the rain has already got me in a bind. It's got my grass out of control. So I'm going to have to break off and use the rest of this afternoon to try to cut some of this grass down so it don't overtake me, because it's about to overtake me already. But I wanted to go ahead and get some content on here. So I thought I'd show you a preview of the next thing we're going to work on. And I know you guys see a lot of stuff going on and everything, but kind of sometimes stuff leads you the way you have to work. And the wrecker come up, which it just worked out and it's cool, and I needed it, so we jumped on it first. We're gonna get back on the 4-wheel drive. We've got the motor and all about ready to go in it, but my son, he's in the Army. He's a first sergeant. He just came back from a tour in Afghanistan, and he called me up. This car right here, he came back from his first tour of Iraq years ago and said, "Daddy, I want to build a motor for my car." And so we built him a roller cam 350, and he put an Edelbrock carburetor on it, and I wanted him to fuel inject it, but he's like, "Daddy, I can't afford that." So he put an Edelbrock carburetor and intake on it and put it in a car which was originally a V6 car with a 5-speed. He bought a Reman World Class T5 and put in it, and got stationed up at Fort Drum, New York, and he was going to a car show and got T-boned on the interstate. Don't know the whole story, probably won't never know the whole story, but he got T-boned on the interstate, and he had an IROC body at the house, which just happens to be this car right here. Now, we hadn't had the opportunity to work on a whole bunch of cars together because me and his mama split up when he was real young, and so working on that motor together was really cool. Well, when he wrecked that car, he had this IROC body stored at my house, which it didn't look like this, and he carried it up to New York, carried it to a body shop and had it painted under the hood. And then he took the motor out of that other car, with what he learned with me when we built the engine. He pulled it down to the short block, pulled the stock 93 up heads off of it, and put a set of Kenny Duckwater trick flow heads on it, and put a Stealth Ram intake on it, fuel injected it, and tore it down and put it in this car right here. And then he had this car painted, and it's really a nice looking car, but it's been sitting here at the house for about 6 years while he's been been on 2 deployments and everything. When he dropped it off here, it needed a fuel pump in it, and we both been dreading it, because on these cars right here, on the 3rd and 4th generation Camaras, you have to drop the rear end to the limit of the suspension, drop the exhaust, pull the gas tank out to put the fuel pump in it. And it's really a major deal. Well, on this car, all the exhaust is welded up solid, so you can't really drop the exhaust. And so he called me up when he got back from Afghanistan. He'd been home for, I don't know, a couple months, and he said, "Daddy, I want to get my car going." He said, "Well, what would you charge me to put a fuel pump in it?" And I was like, "Buy the fuel pump, dude." And so we decided, since this is not the first time he's had fuel pump issues with this car, and because of the way it's set up, that I'm going to cut a trap door in the back of it to access the fuel pump. So that's what we're going to probably do after we get the wrecker finished. But I wanted to show you kind of a preview of the car. I'm really proud of what he's done with it, and let's get the hood up here. he got this cool hood on it. I mean, it's got a, like I said, he turned the motor we built into a real screamer. But he's got a few issues that we're going to get worked out, because he kind of put it together in a rush, and then life happened, and he hadn't had the opportunity to get back on it. And so, like I said, I'm going to put a fuel pump in it and get it running for him, and then get it to his house to where he can work on some of the bug problems in it. And like I said, you can tell it's been sitting here for quite a while. But we put a rear end out of a 4th gen Camaro in it, so it's got 4-wheel disc brakes. He's got these Z06 replica wheels on it, and so I'm gonna get the fuel pump in it and get it to where we can drive it to his house and let him get started on it. So that's gonna be the next project that we got going on after we get done with the wrecker here. But I just wanted to do a short little overview on what we plan on doing to make some content for y'all to watch while I'm doing my chores until I can get back on this wrecker, which hopefully the weather ain't gonna turn like they say it is, and I'll have the opportunity to work some more on it and get you some videos out. But of course, a lot of what I got left to do is nothing that you're gonna be able to see real good. And hush, dogs raising Cain. I'm out here anyhow. So probably the next video or so on the wrecker is gonna be the first start on it. I'm gonna walk away from her. So we'll definitely show you that. We're gonna have a first start on the that 79 Silverado down there before we pull that old wore out 400 out of it and put that 350 in there and convert it over to a stick. So that's really kind of why I jumped off of it and jumped onto the wrecker, because I need the wrecker to get it up towards the shop. The wrecker can help me get the transmission and transfer case that I got to go back in at the Grenadier 4-speed. So it's a wrecker's a nice tool. I've had wreckers since 96. This 64 wrecker I put together in 96, and I've pulled almost as many motors as I've towed cars with it, and it's been all over the state. And one day I'm gonna get this truck back together, but right now we're gonna finish this up. We're gonna get my son's car running. We're gonna get the 4-wheel drive up here to the shop and get it going. So it's a lot of stuff that we're gonna do, but we got to mingle in some chores with it. And then of course the weather has a lot to do with what goes on here too. So the 5.3 that I did the DOD delete stuff on the other week, it's here, and I got the stuff to put the short block together for it. So maybe on some rainy days, if it's not too loud in the shop, I shoot some footage on it. But it's all cleaned up, ready to hone out, put cam bearings in it, and get it ready to put together. Just like I said, got a bunch of stuff to do, and sometimes things come up in a certain order that wasn't really the original plan. I got the stuff out to build the rear end for the 67 C10 right here, and have gotten sidetracked on it on several occasions. It's all set up ready to start putting together here, but I just hadn't. I mean, everything else comes getting in the way, but it's not, like I said, it's just the way it works sometimes. You plan to do certain things and it just doesn't work out, but we're working on something regardless, and getting stuff done. So, like I said, this motor's sitting here waiting to go in the four-wheel drive. I need a couple little things for it. Not really many things at all. I got most of the parts for it. A couple plugs for the intake, and really that's probably about it. So like I said, once we get done with the wrecker, and I need to do my son's car because I promised him, and it's been sitting for too long. He needs something to work on, so we'll get it where he can drive it, and then we'll get back on this four-wheel drive. So that's what we're gonna see in the future. It's gonna happen real quick. So y'all just stay tuned, and we're gonna get with it. So I appreciate y'all hanging in and understanding that sometimes life just changes the plan a little bit, and you just got to roll with it and go. And so that's kind of what we've been doing. And the biggest thing is we're getting out here and getting something done. And that's kind of why I started doing these videos, is just to show you guys that you don't have to have $1 million or a great old big shop. Of course, you know, having a place to work inside helps, but I've done just as much work outside as I've ever done in a shop. So don't let that stop you from building stuff or doing what you want to do, because you don't have to have a big shop. You don't have to be inside. I mean, the weather kind of does change things, but I mean, look, Jonathan W. does a lot of stuff under a easy up awning to keep out the sun, and you can do that too. Them little awnings ain't high, and you can set it up and it keep the rain off you if you feel like working outside and it's raining. It keeps the sun off of you when it's beating down. So the main thing is, don't make excuses for getting out there and doing stuff, because you can. And so y'all hang on. We got lots coming up, and y'all will hopefully stick with me and enjoy it. And we ain't forgot about the old Dodge. We're gonna get back on the old Dodge too. It's just things happening, plans change, and I'm still trying to work on some stuff for the old Dodge. So y'all stay tuned, and y'all really will see a whole bunch of cool stuff. I appreciate it.